I get it. You're on the fence. Why would you want to rent a house when you can buy a house? And at the same time, why would you want to buy a house and be so responsible? What's going on, everybody? If you're new here, I'm King Prime. I can be found at iamkingprime.com. Here at Modern Kings, we have one mission. That's to help you make money, help you to look good, and to help you to be fit. Today, we're diving into helping you to make a good financial decision, which can be what some people consider the biggest investment of your life, which is kind of sad if you ask me. A house. Whether you get one, whether you don't. Do I buy a house? Do I rent a house? I've had a few homes in my lifetime, and I can share my experience about them being consuming, about them being costly, about them being rewarding, about them being satisfying. So I want to paint the vision, give you a little bit of the lay of the land, and put some facts in front of you and to help you to make the most important decision as you go on this journey for yourself. It took me a while to gain this information, and I personally have been highly critical of people for renting for a super long time. Why would you want to rent when you can be gaining equity? You're not getting any tax benefits. This is what I said to people. Now, I feel totally different. I have a widened perspective, and that's what I'm here to share. Now, the first thing that you want to do is break down the pros and cons of home ownership versus renting. Let's get into home ownership first. Here are the pros. As you pay off your mortgage, you build equity, which means your money is going somewhere every month when you make that payment. This can be and is considered a long-term investment. You also have stability. With a fixed mortgage rate, you're paying your same amount monthly. You're not subject to rent increases at the landlord's discretion. You can customize this place, man. If you want to add a different room on, if you want to widen your driveway, if you want to paint every room pink, you have the choice and the option to do that. It's nothing worse than being in a home and you want to modify your property, but you have to either get permission and be denied, or you are not allowed to make those modifications at all. That is being enslaved, in my opinion. It's just not a way to live. With home ownership, you also have tax benefits. Homeowners typically qualify for property tax write-offs. They qualify for mortgage interest write-offs during tax season. And the other thing is you've got appreciation with this property. All property appreciates over time. I just saw a meme the other day and it related to real estate prices. It said something like, 2019, I'm gonna wait until prices come down. 2020, I'm gonna wait until prices come down. 2021, I'm gonna wait till prices come down. 2022, I'm gonna wait until prices come down. At some point, you've gotta pick up on the pattern. Real estate rises over time. So the price will rarely come down, maybe during the recession or something like that. So if you're one of those people that are waiting for prices to come down, you're missing out. Also, just because you own a home or you buy a home, the property value is gonna rise based on the demand. So if you're in a city versus the suburbs versus a rural area, those prices are gonna be different. Now let's get into the cons, the challenges of home ownership. You've got a big down payment, a big upfront cost. In order for you to get a home, unless you have something like a VA loan, or if you're a first-time home buyer and there's some special program or a special incentive, you're gonna come up with 15, 20, 30% of the overall cost of the house as a down payment. So imagine you're buying a house for $300,000, 20% down. That's $60,000 plus closing costs, plus realtor fees, plus furnishing your house. It is a lot. This causes a significant barrier of entry just to own a house. Now, once you get that house, you're gonna have maintenance costs. Your roof may start leaking. I just repaired a roof today, $1,700. Your hot water heater may go out. Anything can go wrong with the home. I bought a home once and it had electrical challenges where the entire electrical system had to be overhauled on stuff that the inspector missed. In short, everything that goes wrong in that house all falls on you and your finances to repair. Owning a home is also not very flexible. Imagine you have a home. I've been in this situation before. I've had a home. I've had to relocate. The house did not sell quickly. Homes do not always sell quickly. So many times when you are seeking to relocate, you could be tied to that home and that location until your house sells. You also have market risk, and this is why it's so important to diversify. You never want all of your money into one particular thing. But if the market goes south and your property declines in value by 50, 100,000, by 50%, then you're stuck with that house. And if you want to sell it at a 50% discount, then you just lost money and you're potentially in the hole by hundreds of thousands of dollars. One more thing to add to this area, you have property taxes and insurance. And guess what? These two things will never go away. So in short, when people talk about paying off their homes and getting the deed, getting the title, you never, ever, actually ever own your home because you're always paying property taxes. And if you miss the property taxes, guess what? Your home can be taken. If you're still here, I would appreciate if you just obliterate that like button. And wherever you're listening to this, I would appreciate if you could give me a review on the video or on the podcast, wherever you're consuming this. Now let's get into renting. But before we get into renting, I want to share with you something from Robert Kiyosaki. You know him, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that everybody has read, but a lot of people haven't taken action. Robert Kiyosaki said that real estate investing on a very small scale remains a true and tried means of building an individual's cash flow and wealth. And I totally agree with that. But you've got to have the capital to be able to handle those things that I just spoke of a little while ago. Now, here are the pros of renting. You got flexibility. Renting allows ease of relocation whenever you need to. It is a lot more flexible and a lot less headache than owning a home. You also typically have lower upfront costs. You have security deposit, first month's rent, last month's rent, and your monthly payment, and that is all. You've got no responsibility. You've got no maintenance. That is a part that is highly attractive. Something goes wrong, call the landlord. Garbage disposal not working, call the landlord. Light switch not working, call the landlord. Plumbing not working, call the landlord. Isn't it so good to be able to just pass those responsibilities on to someone else? You're kind of freeing yourself of chores, adult chores. And another thing, you have predictable expenses. You know exactly what your rent is. Let me tell you what happened to me about 2 months ago. I let my garage down on my car by accident. $2,700 later, yes. I mean, fortunately I had the money, but that is just one example of an additional expense that I did not see at all. I had a roof leak, not the one that I mentioned before. This is on this house that I'm recording this video in. That was about $800. Now, it would have been lovely for me to be able to call the landlord and say, hey man, I got a leak in my roof. Did you come by and check it out when you get a minute? That would have been great. You also have no property tax costs, zero property tax because you don't own it. You also have a very, very short commitment. So you can go year to year. At some point, you can go month to month. And when you're done, you're done. You can pick up, you can relocate, you can move to the other side of town. You're just free and clear. And that is a refreshing feeling for a lot of people. Now, here are the cons for renting. You've got no equity, zero. You can be renting for 5, 10, 15 years. I have heard of people renting for their entire lives, and they've had no equity whatsoever. Now, this is okay if you have another plan on building long-term wealth, but most people don't know anything about building long-term wealth, so their house is their biggest asset, although it's a liability. If a house does not make money for you, it is actually a liability. But there's nothing wrong with choosing to want to be in a house out of desire for safety and freedom and personalization and all of those things. Another con of renting, rent increases. The landlord can raise the rent and increase it whenever they want to, and sometimes by however much they want to. Point of transparency here. I'm a business owner. I've been renting my business location, my current business location, for 5 years. Building got foreclosed on, new landlord came in, doubled people's rent. Mine went up by 1.5% because I happened to negotiate that. That's what happens when you rent. Another con, you have limited control. If you feel like you want to add on or you want to do something beautiful in your backyard, put some semi-permanent structure up or something on the inside, nope, you cannot do it. You will not do it. You do as I say. That's the landlord policy, right? You also have lack of stability. If the landlord decides that they do not want to renew the lease to you, no matter how great of a tenant that you are, you made every payment on time, it is their decision and at their discretion of what they want to do as far as the choice of renewing you or not. And the last con that I have on renting is that you have no tax benefits. You file your taxes at the end of the year, and typically if you paid, let's say, $20,000 in mortgage tax or a significant amount on property tax, then that could greatly affect your tax bracket. Renters do not receive tax benefits whatsoever. So that mortgage interest that you would have if you own the home, you're getting a big zero. And that mortgage interest that you add to your taxes could significantly shape how your taxes look when they're filed. It could put you in a better advantageous tax bracket, or it could have more money coming back to you or having you to pay less. So home ownership, it offers a long-term investment opportunity. It has the potential to be a very good investment for you. It provides control, it provides stability, and it provides safety. But it does come with a higher upfront cost. Renting, on the other hand, it does offer flexibility and lower short-term costs. But you are building no equity, and it is not a long-term investment. You are getting zero financial returns. So the right choice really depends on your lifestyle, your financial situation, and your future plans. There is no right, there is no wrong. Look at your life, look at where you're going, look at the things that affect your quality of life, and go for that thing. Either way, you're not wrong, and you deserve to have whatever you want. If you found this video helpful, check out the video above on the power of delaying gratification and also credit score mastery. Those two videos are very powerful. And if you apply the information in those videos, they can take you very, very far. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, look your best, do your best, and be your